This is a Cohen Walster chaff cutter, number 4 chaff cutter, which was sold new on the 2nd of October 1919 to Sid Canaley, Mr Sid Canaley of Hazeldean, Wadiurl, about 12 kilometres east of Junee. It was sold with a feeding table and an elevator, which is not hooked up here obviously, and it was attached underneath there, and the elevator went out at an angle like that into a shed nearby, and as this was a chaff cutter, as chaff was cut, it was elevated into the shed, and from there they fed horses as they needed to feed them. It was used extensively up to the Second World War, around the Second World War, although this family did have a tractor fairly early on. So they, of course, used the chaff for feeding their horses or their horse teams, but once a tractor was being used, horse teams lost the importance that they had originally, so there wasn't as much chaff required as before. And you could equate chaff to diesel or petrol to fuel a motor. Horses needed chaff, or they needed fodder. That was their fuel. And for anybody using horse teams, if they're harvesting or making hay or hauling grain to a place of sale, they would be fed early in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock. The chaff, this is a rough sheaf of hay, and that's oats or a shandy of oats and other things, but just for the purpose of display. And this would be fed in, cut into chaff, which these machines cut chaff beautifully, small, very nice, evenly cut, good quality chaff. The hay is fed in this chute here, the table, and this is rotating, and there's another roller underneath, and when the tendency is you push that down with your hand so that it'll feed into the rollers, between the rollers. Now it's quite dangerous because this is the wheels going, the cutting wheels going rapidly. These are rotating. If you put your hand in and the fingers get caught, you can be dragged straight in and lose your hand. Those rollers will lift to allow your hand to go through, or allow a big sheaf of hay. Even if you overload it, you pull this back and then they reverse. So the theory is your hand comes free, or whatever the obstruction is. No, that should be all right, I think. This is a cutting wheel, but it has no blades. It goes this way. The blades are bolted somewhere there, and these are the adjustments. On the back there are set screws that adjust the blades to get up against the face, and you need to have the sharp blades, and this is a 3-bladed chaff cutter. You need to have those blades going very close to the cutting edge, otherwise your chaff is ragged. So very sharp blades, properly adjusted, and it travels a lot faster than that. So you can see that you do need to be very, very careful. This would have been driven by, initially it was driven by a small motor, probably an oil engine, what they called an oil engine, and later it was driven by the belt pulley from a tractor. This was capable of doing 15 tonnes of chaff a day. That's a fair bit of chaff for one property. It's a lot of chaff, 15 tonnes. This probably would have only been used once every couple of months, and as tractor use became more prevalent than horse use, then the amount of chaff cut would lessen. But the advantage of it is you could cut a fair bit of chaff quite quickly.